It is Fast Money Football, brought to you by 442picks.ca. An almost full schedule in the Prem this weekend, of course. We'll get to why it's not quite a full schedule later. Now, we should bear in mind, though, that today, Sheffield United up against Nottingham Forest. That's this afternoon. We'll avoid that right now. But Sarah, Fulham against Brentford in a London derby.
Yeah, we like that one a lot. I think Brentford, I'm going to give them the edge here. I know David Raya's out the door and gone to Arsenal. That's a big loss for them. But we know Mitro looks like he's leaving to Al Hilal from Fulham. Paulinia's out in the midfield. So I think that's where they're going to get picked apart there. And they beat Everton last week. Sure, first match of the season. But Everton, to me, is going to be one of the worst teams, I think, in the season for the Prem right now. So I don't take too much from that. Brentford, really tough game against Spurs, and they did well. So I'm going to give the edge to the Bees, and I'm saying Brentford's going to win this one.
All right, Birdie, Liverpool up against Bournemouth. That's an interesting one.
Dude, lock of the weekend, right?
Oh, you think
lock
so?
Of the weekend. Liverpool at Anfield. I know some people will be concerned because just one shot on target against Chelsea. I thought they did a lot of good, though. And we've talked about this before. There's so many goals on that side. Diaz, Jota, Darwin Nunez, and now you have Szoboszlai in the midfield with McAllister. A lot of goals on that side. They'll be up for it at Anfield, so I'm going to go Liverpool over Bournemouth. And Bournemouth's away record last season, not great. Just 5 wins on the road.
All right, Luton-Burnley.
Yes.
Man, what a game that could have been. Promotion derby, of course, but Luton Stadium's not quite ready just yet. You get promotion to the Premier League, you've got to build more seats, make it posher, more facilities. It's not quite done, so both teams have a week off, and I picked that game for me. So thankfully, forget about that one.
Well done, Sharp.
Hey, it's about
Easy
avoiding work.
peasy, lemon squeezy.
Avoiding the work.
Well done.
Luton-Burnley, so forget about that. Wolves-Brighton, Sarah.
Yeah, I think this one we might think it might be more interesting than it actually will be. I know Wolves should have beaten United. We all know what should have happened on the day. They played really good football, even though I think they could also not be a great team to watch this season, but they were great. Brighton, on the other hand, we know Moises Caicedo, gone. Alexis McAllister, how are they going to keep up with that? But I love De Zerbi Ball, and I think that Wolves will not maintain this. I think that was a one-off. It was the opening match. I get it was Manchester United, Old Trafford, but I'm going Brighton with this one.
You mean you can't form narratives after one game of the season?
I do it all the time.
So do I.
I do it all the time.
You're about to do it right now.
And now, hold on, there's goals in that Brighton side now with João Pedro and Evan Ferguson. They haven't had that in a long time.
Yeah, it's interesting, that one. I mean, Brighton will find a way. They always do, don't they? Spurs, Manchester United. Hello.
I'm taking off my Spurs glasses and putting on my other pair of Spurs glasses. Everybody who's making picks on 442 picks, I would say the majority, probably going with Manchester United, and that makes a lot of sense. But based on what I saw from that first game, Wolves, Mateus Cunha especially, they cut right through that team. 23 shots against Manchester United at Old Trafford. Wolves are projected to be relegated, and that's what happens. United will settle, and I think end up finishing in the top 4. But I think early on in the season, there could be some issues. What we saw from Spurs in that first match against Brentford, 70% possession, a ton of shots, super attacking. They're going to be at White Hart Lane at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I think they'll be up for it. And looking back to last season, United against the top 9, they collected just 1 point. So I'm going to go Spurs to beat United in Tottenham.
I love that. Listen, the way they played last match for 2 goals, they played that expansive attacking football.
Love it.
The way Spurs should always play. That's their DNA. Mourinho, Conte have ruined it in recent years, but that's how they should play, win or lose. So I love that pick. All right, Man City against Newcastle. It's a title decider. Week 2 of the season.
Match of the season.
It might be. I'll tell you what, last year 3-3 was match of the season. We're up there for sure. And also City won 2-0. This is a great match. De Bruyne is out of course for 3-4, maybe 5 months. So that's bad news of Man City, but the depth is obviously still there. I think you look the way Newcastle destroyed Aston Villa last weekend, 5-1. They're playing such good football, albeit early in the season. They've made some really great, intelligent additions right now. This is a real tough one to pick, so I'm going for the draw in this one, which would be a great result for Newcastle against the treble winners. So take the draw in that one, and of course in 442picks.ca you take the draw, you get lots of points. So I like that one. Sarah, Villa against Everton.
Well, speaking of Newcastle, absolutely smashed Villa last weekend, but don't get your hopes up. Unai Emery and Villa, I think, will be pushing for a top 6 position. They were so good last year. They've only gotten even better, bringing over Pau Torres from this Villarreal team that they're trying to recreate. I like it a lot, and we're talking about Everton. Like I mentioned earlier, I think Everton's going down. I have no faith in that. I'm so sorry, Sean Dyche, but they're just in shambles right now, and I can see Villa eating Everton alive this weekend, especially because they're going to want to bounce back from getting torn apart by Newcastle. At Villa Park, Villa all day.
Villa had a ton of chances to score in that
100%.
game. They just didn't finish. And losing Tyrone Mings, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Crazy result given how they played.
Yeah, they played well.
But Pau Torres can sub in for Tyrone Mings.
Yeah, he had a rough game.
Well,
First match in the Premier League, we'll see.
Exactly.
Yeah. Don't talk about Sean Dyche like that, by the way.
West Ham, staying with claret and blue. West Ham, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Can you make any sense of Chelsea?
No, I can't. I did like what I saw against Liverpool. Nicholas Jackson looks really good. I think he might be a bit too much for that West Ham defense. Moises Caicedo coming into the midfield. Enzo Fernandez had a pretty good game. I thought Conor Gallagher looked good. You have Ben Chilwell and Reece James essentially playing as wingers. I think Chelsea's going to be too much for West Ham, so I'm going to go with Chelsea. West Ham will put up a fight. I think Edson Alvarez probably going to make his debut, but I just feel like Chelsea, we don't know who they are, but attacking-wise, I think they can go toe-to-toe with any team.
I like that one too. Palace against Arsenal round things out. The Gunners are big favourites in this one.
Yeah.
But Palace have Roy Hodgson. He's back again, which no one can quite believe, of course. But listen, they looked pretty good last week, actually, by squeaking out a 1-0 win against the Blades, promotion club. But Arsenal, they did their job. They won their opener, and they won it pretty handily, I think it's fair to say. But the midfield didn't quite click just yet. Quite a few new faces. Julien Timber is out for months with an ACL injury, which is a real shame.
These ACL injuries, by the way.
It's a bad week for ACL injuries.
Yeah.
A lot of football charms in the past couple of years.
Oh, are we going down that route again? Too much football? Poor athletes? It's true, though.
Yeah.
100% true. With all the expanded play this
Extra
year as well,
time,
with all the time and trying to control time wasting, you're going to see more of these things, I think. But I like Arsenal for the win. It's an obvious one, I think. It's a London derby. You never quite know in London derbies, and never rule out Palace, especially at home. But I like the Gunners in that one. 442picks.ca is the destination for you to win a whole ton of prizes every single week. Free to enter, by the way. And you could win. You could win if you're really, really good. $250,000. Yeah, that's pretty juicy, isn't it? So please get on there, log on, subscribe. 442picks.ca.